Greetings, salutations, everyone. Welcome to another Council of Kings podcast recording. I am your marvelous host this evening, Prestigious G. Let's get everything started. Tonight's episode is another Black Corner episode called The Black Community, Patriarchy or Matriarchy. We will be discussing what factors equivocate to what has plagued the Black community. Is it failed patriarchy or matriarchy that has developed in the last 40 years? I have some new hosts this week. I have some new guests tonight, and we're going to be discussing these new topics in very good detail. So, without further ado, let's add everybody to the panel. Greetings, everyone.
Hi.
All right, so tonight's for one thing, I want to get started. It's good to have you, Maddie. If you're new to the seat tonight, you're actually our second lady to have up here. So that should be an honor for you. That should be an honor for you.
It is.
Right.
Kind of nervous. What am I getting myself into? But
you're gonna enjoy yourself.
all right.
Trust me, we won't bite you. And I keep a firm leash.
Okay.
All right. So, before we get started, I just want to say again, we're going to have to give us some respect to the late and great Sidney Poitier. He passed away 2 days ago at the ripe old age of 94, left an extremely unimaginable legacy for young Black actors. Did a real good justice for the community, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I guess I got to give my shout out to Betty White, but we already saw that coming. No, rip. I'm playing. I didn't watch Golden Girls. All right, that's just how it is.
Gotcha.
I ain't watch it. I watched Night Court and Law and Order. Anyway, so let's get started with our first little tidbit tonight. To everyone on the panel, what does patriarchy mean in the Black community? Let's start with Bible. What do you want to start with that
one? So patriarchy, that's when the father is the head of the household.
It is a society or an establishment run by males.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think.
So basically, reference it to the Black community, basically.
Okay, yeah. So, for the Black community, I feel like that's the system that we should be using, just because men think logically and they use their head when they're thinking about things instead of using emotion.
Okay. That's all you got?
Yeah, for right now. Yeah.
All right. Drew, hi, what you got? What does the patriarchy mean to the Black community in your opinion?
To me, to the Black community, I think the patriarchy, I think it means, I think back in the day it meant a lot. I think now it doesn't mean very much. I mean, the image of Black man is under attack. I mean, it's been under attack for a long time, but it's really been under attack in the last few years. And so I think back in the day it meant a lot, because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, my father wasn't in the house, but the person who kind of played the father figure for me was my uncle. So I remember when I would get in trouble, my mom was like, "Yeah, you're going to your uncle's house." I was like, "Oh man!" Like I knew, like, "Oh, it's just got to be bad for me." Back in the day, I'm not sure if it was this way for women, but I know for my friends, when their mom, when they would get in trouble, and their mom would be like, "Wait till your daddy get home," you would see the look on their face, like, "Oh, here we go. It's gonna get bad for us." So I think back in the day it meant a lot, but I don't know if personally I don't think it means as much now.
Okay. All right. Let me. My tidbit is the patriarchy in the black community, in my opinion, was the arm and hammer in the situation. A hammer can be used to basically topple something, but it can also be used. It has two uses. It can topple something, but also it can build something. And I think what the black community and what the patriarchy is meant to do is to create a type of infrastructure that builds on and spreads a generational it basically adds something that will spread and grow with the community itself, making strong people, making a strong society, and above all, ensuring that all of this will produce something that will suffice, live on. And the problem, in my opinion, with for the last since the late '70s, in my opinion, since evidential records, black patriarchy has been very much pushed out of the home, especially with drugs in the '80s and the '70s, '60s. And then you had governmental welfare come in and even push that out even more. So basically, when everything, so basically, black men I'll say, I'll put it like this: black men who wanted to participate in the continuation of black solidarity really had no other choice but to really leave away, because when patriarchy was being pushed out and matriarch, and basic for one reason, when most of the women were trying to be with government, try with governmental welfare, and basically you fit as a man, you felt no real reason to be around. So that also added to patriarchy being, not really a need be in the black community. But I'm not going to ramble too long. So Maddie, give your definition of what patriarchy is to the black community. I can see by your expression you've been antsy about the whole situation. So
The patriarchy in black communities is really and truly a assimilation to white culture. Black culture has always been ruled by matriarchy. When it's been tried to infuse with the patriarchal views, that's when, how can I say, chaos is afoot. Like when we were slaves, first being freed from slaves, our culture, we was ruled by Big Mama. The father figure in the household was just the first line of defense. Like, yeah, wait till your dad gets home. But we all knew who was in charge of the household. Big Mama was in charge of the household. Big Mama made the rules. Papa was the one who was, oh, you don't want to deal with Papa. You don't want to get on Big Mama bad side, because then she gonna call Papa. And like with this era of confusion where it's, well, the white man says the man should be in charge of the house. Now it's this confusion, and it's like you're trying to assimilate to a culture that isn't even for you.
So you believe that patriarchy is non-black?
Yeah. Just like the nuclear family is non-black.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to put it in a term that's more practical. So basically, it's basically a social construct that needs to be discombobulated. Well, no,
it's a European construct that's not for us.
Okay. Anybody on the panel want to have any suggestions on that?
Well, I can kind of understand what she's saying, but My question is like, what would be the father's role in the household?
First line of
Like, is he
defense.
just like okay, so he's just like a protector and a provider?
So a
Yes.
guard dog.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want to put it like that, yeah. But it's really, all right, who's making the rules? Who the enforcer?
Well,
Papa's there to enforce.
Well, I can kind of understand that because normally the woman would be the one that's always in the house, and the father would be out, working and everything. So he wouldn't really be present there to really enforce any rules.
and also with the Big Mama thing, I can understand that because Big Mama also took care of the home, but she also kept the women in check too as well.
Yeah. She
Which
definitely kept the woman in check, but she made sure the home was running.
which in my opinion is one of those figures that definitely needs to be brought back into mainstream Black in this era, because the whole, because nowadays, Big Mama used to be the one to tell you better leave them, you better stop acting fast and still keep your eyes in the book now, and that's actually being seen as degrading, trying to tell somebody to not exploit themselves.
Well, that's one of those things that came with the patriarchy, where it became, okay, well, women are going to start taking a step back. We're going to let the men rule. We're going to let dad rule. Dad has this thing where old girls belong here and this. So women started becoming jealous of the younger ones. Instead of actually trying to teach them, they started becoming jealous. And now it's not coming from a good place of heart of, oh, you better be focusing on them books. Now it's, oh, you trying to be running around here with all them boys. You think you're a woman now. You think you're smelling yourself now. That's where that ill challenge comes from. Like, long as Big Mama knew what her place was, there was no confusion like that.
Nah,
Right.
I actually agree with that one, especially with the part when you said older Black women were kind of feel like younger Black women were that I forgot what they call the opposition, the enemy, or
Yeah.
Like competition.
yeah, competition. That's absolutely what I was thinking. Yeah, that absolutely is very true. And unfortunately, jealousy bleeds envy, and because I don't understand that makes it hard for any woman wants to an older woman wants to really teach one, because she feels like she is in competition because she's not, because a young woman, she's not just up for grabs for dudes in her age bracket, but older men as well. So what's that 40-year-old woman gonna do against a 29-year-old? Okay, what Kevin Samuels say, she gonna have to buy a dog. Oh man,
But well, that's different. I think that's more in the whole situation with the buy a dog, die alone. That's more. I guess that's more for modern day women, because what we've come to see is, and this is patriarchy, matriarchy, however you see it. To be honest, let me take a step back. Like feminism. Feminism runs with this idea that men are trying to oppress women, and in some cases, a guy might be trying to hold a woman from doing something, but most men at their root are feminists too, because feminism is simply about choice. If a woman wanted to be a housewife, she could go out and she could be a housewife. If she wanted to go out and she wanted to make money and become a businesswoman and do what she wanted to do, she could do that. And it was like, give her a choice. And that's really, like, you know, that's how Black people were. Black people were like, hey, treat us fair, give us a choice, you know, allow us to be what we want to be. But the problem that we're seeing nowadays is feminism has become more about after second wave feminism, it became a big problem, because then people tried to say, oh, well, it's the man who's always holding us down. It's the man who's always holding us down. But in some cases, yeah, that could be true. But I don't know too many jobs that men are allowed to do that women are not allowed to go into. There's very few. You know, I was in the military. Women were allowed to be in the military. I think the only thing that women were not allowed to do was be on submarines. But I think even that's been changed.
Wait, why would they not be allowed on submarine?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I just know. I know back in the day.
Swim?
No. I don't really know why it is. I know when I was there, they said that somebody told me women can't be on submarines. That could just be something that somebody told me. I could be wrong, but what I'm trying to get at is this: the whole idea of this modern day thing. It's become this situation where women see men as either a utility or something to be feared. And that's a problem, because it leaves an attitude towards men. It makes men seem as if, like, okay, well, we're not worth anything. And you know what she was saying earlier. You know, back in the day, you know, men could marry women their same age and, you know, have a family. Now it's changed into this situation where men have to accumulate things. Men, it's like, or at least they feel that way. You know, I've said this many times. I don't feel like, because of what I've seen and because I've seen how we're attacked, I feel like I'm not worthy of having a female because I don't make the kind of money that I want right now. And that I think that's
really gassed all these women heads up, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm saying. I think the patriarchy, sir. I think it served a purpose. Yeah, it's a European thing, but yeah, I mean, America is. I don't believe America is a patriarchal society. I mean, I believe America is a matriarchal society, and I've always believed that.
The right term for that one is gynocracy, which is basically a sort of democracy ran by women.
Yeah, but so I'll turn it over because I'll get back in here in just a second.
Maddie, you want to jump in?
How can we say that America's a matriarchal society?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
No. Let me finish.
Okay. Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
How can we say that America's a matriarchal society when we literally have people in charge making rules, making laws, who don't know how bodies work, female bodies work?
I mean, what is Joe Biden's cabinet is all mostly black women, so that's one just right there. No, but
I mean, at this point, aren't we done with the White House?
Good point.
When it comes down to, like, aren't we done with that?
I mean,
like, after Trump's freaking tyranny, we haven't really heard anything from the White House after Joe Biden was elected as a damn figurehead. Kamala Harris was right there by him.
I'm going to tell you this. A bunch of black Republicans kept telling them that nothing was going to happen when Joe Biden got in office. They called them Uncle Toms, everything under the freaking sun. As soon as Joe Biden got in office, what happened? COVID happened. Anti-Asian hate.
COVID happened before.
Well, wait, what happened? Wait.
COVID happened before Joe Biden got in office.
Oh, wait. Well, yeah. As soon as it happened, yeah. What I'm saying is, as soon as he got in office during COVID, all he did was, he did the Asian Hate Act. Nothing had nothing to do with black folks. I just said, me and Bible that said this both. The Democratic Party basically just uses black folks, especially black women, as a freaking they use them as clowns, bro. And I don't understand why they keep supporting.
I mean, the reason why a lot of people voted Democratic in this last election wasn't because, oh, I'm just down for the blue. It was literally, am I going to keep this damn idiot in office? The reason why I know that argument so well is because it was me. I participated. Like, damn, this is our choice. This is my choice. I was pissed off. I know a lot of people who didn't vote because of the options we were given.
I didn't vote. I did not. I will wholeheartedly said that. I got a lot of pushback from my family because of that. But
I understand it. I freaking understand it. It was literally like, all right, so which one are you gonna choose? You gonna choose the damn devil, or you gonna choose the devil in a southern accent? Like, there was no, and some of us just decided, you know what, get this motherfucker out because of what his presence deemed. So many too many people were comfortable in their racism and coming out with their racism, and it was like, do we continue to let this fester and come out? And because it wasn't look like, I'm not gonna say that the racists decided to leave or go back into hiding. What I will say is they definitely went back down a little bit. They went back to talking in code instead of just outright saying it.
I can understand that because the alt-right's been kind of silent for a little bit, so I haven't heard that.
They don't have nobody talking for them and giving them rules and giving them, hey, Proud Boys, stand by. You don't have that outright figurehead anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll tell anybody the story. When President, I don't feel like calling that motherfucker president, my bad. Agent Orange was elected. At the time, he was running alongside with David Duke. I don't know if you guys are familiar with who David Duke is.
I know who he's. We are very. Me and Bob are very familiar. He was a former clan. He's a former head Klansman and governor.
Yes, who ran for senatorship, and he was running alongside.
What do they call a clan? The head Imperial Dragon. Imperial Dragon.
Yeah, he was running alongside Trump in 2016. And people, and I worked in an area where these people accumulated. If I'm not mistaken, he lived probably like 2 miles from where I worked. Yeah. And
so why didn't you egg his house?
Huh?
Why didn't you egg his house?
Oh, honey, no. Because they were out there with the guns.
I'm a egg that mofo house.
Shit. No, like, I know you stay away from that damn house. But they were like, I'm talking about a whole block full of Trump 2016, Make America Great Again, and David Duke 2016. Like, both of those signs was running up. And I was sitting outside waiting for my dad to come pick me up, and my coworker, she stopped. She said, "Girl, why you out here?" I was like, I'm waiting on my dad. It was like 5 o'clock. It was like turning dusk, whatever. She says, "You know damn well this David Duke County. Can't be out here like this. It's 2016, not 1916, 2016, and we're in. It was basically like, yo, this is a sundown county now. This isn't. I wish I could say this is like some off place. No, this is Metairie, Louisiana.
Nah, shadow just came over the city, didn't it? The shadow reigned over the city, didn't it? There was a different vibe after he came in.
Basically. Yeah. And that's like people were very much comfortable with saying how they felt. Oh, they was very comfortable with saying nigger, hard R to your face.
Be careful with it, because
2016 to 2020, like
be careful with the typical language, because I don't want YouTube to shut me down for that. But continue though.
hold on, I'm gonna have to leave right.
But yeah, I feel like we're getting a little bit off topic, but I understand what she's saying. Patriarchy, I feel do patriarchy does have its benefits though. To finish your story.
But like even with that, that was some like the races were very comfortable being out. And like after the Capitol, the insurrection, I'll never forget. It was like you saw them going to their fucking corner and be embarrassed. And they've been quiet ever since. Not
Yeah,
quiet, but they more to themselves now.
because that was some dumbass shit.
Oh, it was dumb. They're shamed. And like now they're properly shamed for their racism now. So that's the only thing that election did. It was shame them, put shame upon them. They need to feel they need the shame wizard all around them, and so they could feel that. That's all that election did. That's all it did. After that, there's nothing. Nothing. They're figureheads now.
Okay. Well, let me to the second question for the night. I'll let Maddie answer this one. Be decided. What, since you believe matriarchy is a black community has evidently always been a matriarchy. What has it yield or produced and contributed to the black community?
With the matriarchy, when it was actually continued and actually practiced, that came family togetherness. Since we've started fighting amongst ourselves of who should actually be in charge, we haven't had that family togetherness like we were supposed to be. I mean, we hear it all the time. Things ain't been the same since grandma died.
True. It's very true.
Like grandpa died. Don't get me wrong, there's gonna be some tears. It's gonna be a lot of tears.
The thing about it is, what Grandpa had, sometimes Grandpa had like two other families down the street though.
True, that too. But it's like, with that being said, like if grandpa died, we're gonna be sad. Whatever comes with his estate, that's his estate. You know, when grandma died, it's like there's some love that's absent, and it's no longer felt, and people grieve in different ways, and people go about their own separate ways. Brothers don't talk to brothers no more. Sisters don't talk to sisters no more. Like the family dynamic has changed, and since the matriarchy has gone under, we don't have that sense of community anymore. We don't have that sense of family anymore. We're literally, for lack of a better term, we all look at each other like niggas on the street. Like,
Black solidarity is at all time low, basically.
yes.
That's
And that's due to the absence of the matriarchy.
Okay. I'll give my little sense on it. Matriarchy. The matriarchy it's yielded some good things. It's also yielded some negative aspects, but it's also yielded some good aspects in general. With the single parent household, actually there is a huge proliferation. Even though a good percentage of black homes are single parent house homes, most black individuals, particularly black women, are in positions such as going to college. Basically, I'm going to taking a little mace. I'm taking something from Kevin Samuels' book. Majority of black men and black women are trying to pursue a educational purpose instead of trying to do something. A lot of black entrepreneurs have yielded as women. A lot of there are more black male millionaires than there were 30 years ago. So basically, matriarchy has yielded some very decent results. You basically, this is my whole sentiment. And everybody can think differently about it. When it comes, I still don't believe that women do a good job at building a man, but they can do one good of a job building a good being, a very good individual, or a very good person. That's just my whole take. So matriarchy has yielded some very good results. They have they basically have been produced a generation of people who are more empathetic than the last generation, because this generation is more, we gonna say how we feel about it, and we're not gonna keep our mouth shut about it because we just see it. Because a lot of people have a lot of people in our generation, we've grown up seeing shit that we really didn't want to, and we're told to keep our mouths shut about it. But you know, it basically it's a trickle down effect. Once a good generation of people see it, most people just realize that something like this isn't normal. So I will say that matriarchy has had its benefits to the black community. Anybody else want to jump in?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's given us some good results in terms of financial freedom and getting more education, like getting more degrees and everything. But um, as far as having morals and standards and everything, I feel like all of that has really gone away for us because of the loss of a father figure in the home and everything. Um, so yeah, I think really the only good thing that we got from that system is money and education, but everything else has pretty much went away.
I don't think the degrees situation where more black women are getting degrees and stuff has come from being in a matriarchal society. That's mostly come from a reaction of trauma, which happened with the absence of both, because we had women taking a step back saying, I'm not the man is the head of the household. I'm going to do as he says does, and he's not in the household. So now we have this jealousy, which I've spoken about before, and that's turned into a trauma. And so the trauma response has been, I'll never want to be put in that situation again. So I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to get this. I'm going to make this money. And now, even though I've had this child, I'm never going to make them feel like they were unwanted. Because at one point in the 70s, 80s, children were made to feel like they weren't wanted. You're here. You're seen. You're here to be seen, not heard. There shouldn't be any response to that. And now we have adults who dealt with that trauma of being told, hey, you're seen, not heard. Like, hey, I actually want to hear how you feel, because I don't want you to feel like I felt. So it's a trauma response. And now we have so many people opening their mouth because of trauma responses from the last generation.
Hey, no offense to anybody who was born this time, but Gen X kind of fucked up Gen Z a little bit. I feel Gen X kind of failed Gen Z to a degree.
Because they asked them how they felt.
No, not because of that. Because they themselves were given misinformation by the boomers at the time. Well, yeah, the Gen. I forgot. I keep forgetting Gen X is millennials. Gen
Gen
Y.
X is
Gen
not
X.
millennials.
No,
They're
Gen
X.
Y. Millennial. Okay, I'm okay. Let me. I messed it up. Millennials kind of messed up over Gen Zs because they got misinformation from Gen X. If that makes sense, because they themselves were misinformed, and that also comes to what I was talking about because everybody was told at the time to just get a degree instead of just well, they were told at the time to get a degree, but also they took trades out and kept telling everybody to get a degree. And we didn't expect the fourth technological evolution, industrial revolution to hit this way. So when everybody's trying to get a degree, you actually take the value out of actually getting one. So less jobs to go around, I suppose.
That's because that's what the baby boomers told. So Gen Y, aka the millennials, they including myself, we were either
That's
raised
why your face
by
looked like that when I said that.
huh?
That's why your face looked like that when I said it.
No, no, let me finish. Millennials were raised either by very young baby boomers or the older version of Gen X. And the baby boomers are they were of free love. They were of a different time, different era. And they went to college. A lot of them went to college just to get degrees and just to be a manager at a plant somewhere. And then you have Gen X who went to college and was like they have no idea what they're doing.
Don't forget the
That's
debt. Don't
You
forget the
can see
debt.
that culture in the
The
late
debt.
80s, early 90s movies. Reality Bites, if you ever seen that movie, is with Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke.
Haven't
All
seen
of
it.
them have these degrees and things and don't have no idea what to do with them. Just literally, they're called the slacker generation. So then, like Gen Y, aka the millennials, we see that, grew up with it, and we're like, oh, it doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense. We got these degrees and we come into a job market where nothing's available. Like you basically need a damn degree to get a decent salary to work at Wendy's. At this point,
That's sad
that
as
was
fuck,
like
actually.
2000, them 2010s. Yeah, it was hard to get a job anywhere with a damn degree. I knew too many people who had freaking masters and was working at Walmart because the job market was just so damn low. And you still have these baby boomers who refuse to retire, working in these positions where they're probably not even qualified for. Hell, we see it in our freaking political system. These geriatric fools should not be running the country. There's no reason a 75-year-old should be running a damn country. Why are you making laws? You're not going to be here much longer to see it.
I'll swear, I'll give you money to actually tell that to a 70-year-old.
I would. My mouth flip. I don't care.
Why your
I
old
love
ass?
old people, but
Okay.
Why your
certain
old
shit,
ass in here?
it's
Get your old
huh?
ass out of here. Like, what? Get your old ass out of here. Shit.
Like, yeah, like go relax. Go enjoy yourself. Why are you here?
Give give him give him a blue pill like you told me earlier.
Go, yes, get the blue pill. Go have fun. Go enjoy go enjoy the twilight of your years. It makes no sense for you to be making rules and actually working at this old age. You're damn near senile. And that's nothing against you. That's just how it works. When I'm freaking hopefully I can retire by the age I'm 60. Hopefully.
Hopefully, hopefully.
But they keep raising this retirement age up and up just so these people.
And they keep saying that Social Security ain't gonna be here anytime, so ain't gonna be here any more little sooner. So
shoot, I know people who retired just to work in their field after they retired, and then when you ask them why are you back, it's not because they ran out of money, it's because they got bored at home, so they get paid twice.
There's a lot of old people, a lot of old, especially old freaking security people who are like that.
I know a teacher who's about, I want to say she's about, she looked 80, but she's white, so I'm gonna say she's probably like 56 or something like that.
You know how they age.
60. She's up there, and she gets her Social Security check, her Medicaid and everything, and she also gets a check from the school system because she's a retired teacher who decided to come back. And I'm like, why are you here? She doesn't know how to teach the math anymore. Like, she had a hard time teaching math. Like, the kids were literally correcting her on how to teach it, and they were fourth graders. And I'm like, why is she here collecting the damn check?
They got it. There's a guy in my who in my job who's an 81-year-old security guard. He basically said he just come here. He worked in a plant for like 60 years, and now he basically just he literally says he comes to work just to escape boredom. Like,
yes. Yeah. And instead of you going to work to escape boredom, how about you actually live your life?
Yeah. But let me cut you off because I didn't get Drew's definition of what has matriarchy contributed.
I mean, granted, in anything you do, you know, everything's gonna have its relative contribution. You know, women have had their relative contribution to the world. The matriarchy has had its relative contribution. I mean, women are able to go, and this is what I was speaking earlier. Women are able to go into any job that they want to, and that comes from the idea of feminism. You know, feminism is a matriarchal, you know, kind of society where it opened doors for women to get the same kinds of opportunities that men get. You know, or you know, I don't, as I said, I don't know very many jobs that a woman cannot do. I mean, I know a girl who works in the petroleum industry here in Texas where I'm at, and that's a very hard industry to work in. And she's not, you know, she's not like a burly, you know, stud type chick. No, she's like a, you know, a petite little pretty girl, and she gets her ass out there and she works. Probably, I think so. I don't know. I don't really get in her business. I don't know. But I mean, but she gets out and she does it. So yes, it's had its relative contribution. What I was getting at earlier before we got into it, because I said I believe America's a more matriarchal society, is because in anything that we see, women get it a lot easier. I like, and there are some things that women don't get, and you know that I believe, okay, you know, chill out. You know, I'm very, 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 you know, pro-choice on, you know, smortion. And I say that because we're on YouTube. I don't want to get your stuff dinged. But you know, I'm very much pro-choice because I know, and I know this might sound like cap, but I know a guy that I grew up with. You know, his mom was, you know, AARP'd, and had a kid, and she, you know, had him, and she hated him because he looked like the guy, you know, who did what he done. And so, yeah. And so she tore him down, you know, and he, you know, hated himself for years because of that. Cause he felt like, you know, I wasn't supposed to be here. And you know, and yeah, and that's not sad, but what I'm getting at is what I'm trying to get at is this. I believe America's a much more matriarchal society because everything is geared towards trying to make life easier for a woman because it's always been like that. You know, this is why back in the day, whenever you raped a woman, you know, it was looked at, you know, as punishable by death because it's like you forced yourself on somebody who you were not supposed to do that to. We've all heard stories of what happens to those kinds of guys in prison, because it's like even and to me that's the craziest thing, because even guys who we think of as the lowest of the low still have some level of dignity, and they're like, okay, I sold drugs, but I sold drugs and I got to sit here for 20 years, but I didn't do what you did. I killed somebody because they stole money from me, but I didn't force myself on a woman like that. So even some of the lowest of the low understand some level of dignity. Now, the reason I believe that is because look at the lady Amanda Geiger. For people who don't remember, or as Amber Geiger, I can remember it, but the chick from Texas who went out, got drunk, came home, and said she walked into the wrong apartment and killed the black dude. Okay, here's my question. My thing is like this. You went out and you got drunk. Okay. You were aware enough to walk out of the bar. You're aware enough to find your car. You're aware enough to drive to your house, not hit anybody, not kill anybody, not do any damage. You're aware enough to find your apartment. You're aware enough to walk upstairs, and then you killed him, and it was just, it was accidental. I doubt that, but we can talk about that much later. Men, but when a black man if a man does that same thing, if a man kills a woman, like the Oscar Pistorius, the guy who had no legs and he ran, when he shot his wife, he's still sitting in prison right now. And he said, "Oh, it was an accident." And they're like, "Nah, that wasn't an accident."
How can you sit with no legs?
Yeah. And so it, like in anything that you see, women get it a lot easier in America now. So that's why I believe it's a much more matriarchal society. Women tend to file for divorce most of the time. We hear this all the time. Women usually file for divorce 70% of the time. Whenever you go to family court, who do the kids usually go with?
The mom.
Exactly. Even though the dad might make more money, the dad might be even more totally competent. I did a live show on my Facebook about a guy who got killed here in Texas trying to get his son because the mom. Yeah, because
are you talking about that guy who shot his wife, his ex-girlfriend, and then he killed himself?
No, I saw that one too, but that was in Baltimore. But there was a dude. There was a dude here in my city who went to go pick up his son because it was his day, and his wife didn't want to give him his son because his wife was like, "I want to spend more time with them." Him and her new dude got into it, and her new dude ended up killing him. Now,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Now his son will never get to see his father again, and his son was like 6. So this is not a little kid who doesn't remember. Like,
and then you gotta live in the house with the son of a bitch that shot him too.
Exactly, So yes, there are some things that yes, I believe that there are some things that the patriarchy does have over America, but simply put, it's a much more matriarchal society. Anything that you see is typically going to be geared towards trying to make life easier for women.
The thing about it is, I actually wanted to point out to that. The thing about it is, in all genuality, that's what society was built for anyway. It was built by men who basically wanted to create families and make their lives easier for the families.
Exactly.
That's it. No, the fuck it wasn't. Who told you that? The United States was built because we wanted more land.
I said society, not America. Societies in general.
Yeah, he was saying most societies that are built to try to give women try to give women and kids and families safety.
Not at all. No, I'm sorry. No, most societies is built out of greed. Let's be honest. Most societies is built out of greed.
I would say maybe that's dependent on the era, in my opinion.
No, like that's basically it. Like from the damn Mesopotamians on down. It's been greed.
Yeah, I mean,
think about it is.
Go ahead, my fault. Go ahead, Prestige.
Greed, in my opinion, is a product of base of power. Anyway. So basically, if you are already in a particular amount of power, you're gonna want more regardless. But
yeah.
So basically, I don't know, because in that situation, you gotta if you're gonna put it in from that perspective, then basically Martin Luther King trying to get freedom for black folks was a form of greed.
Nah, that was the trauma response. You have trauma response, and then you have you have action, and then you have a trauma response. Really, like if you look into the history of New Orleans, one of the main reasons why there's not a lot of pure white people in New Orleans is because white women couldn't survive New Orleans, so they was too busy raping slaves and everybody else down here.
Oh, it's good. They call Creole.
Yeah, it's called Creole because white women couldn't survive the damn heat down here. And then they just bred the lightest, and the most lightest would go to a white man until, hey, you're white now. So if you actually find a freaking white person who's like, oh, my family is one of the first generations to be here in New Orleans, 9 times out of 10, they got some African blood in them because white women couldn't survive it. And that didn't stop them from moving here and staying here. It was just like, fuck it, we're gonna breed with the slaves. That way we could continue on with our cotton and our indigo and all that shit. Like, and when we go, and I do want to go back to this, Amber Geiger and all those, I can say America is built for white women's tears. I can say that. And I've said this on my podcast, On the Lake, as well as the Fly with Bats podcast, that the strength of a white woman's tear is magical.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If she cries, bitch, we all dead. That's you, black man. That's me, black woman. That's you, Asian woman. That's you, Hispanic woman. That's you, Hispanic man.
I know.
We all dead except for the white man. And sometimes it works against the white man. Sometimes. Sometimes.
No, I'm gonna finish. You finish? I don't want to cut her off.
But
okay, go ahead.
For every Amber Geiger. But for every Amber Geiger, I can't remember her name, but there's a woman who went to jail around the same time as George Zimmerman for shooting at her abuser. And she accidentally hit him. And when she accidentally hit him, they said, oh, she shouldn't have shot him, and she went to jail for it. She was a black woman.
Yeah, we understand that. Like I said, I mean, granted, I give you that. We all
say women can work in these industries and work in all these different industries. Can they work in them comfortably? And by comfortably, I mean, can they work in these places without fear that someone's going to rape them? Can they work in these places where somebody isn't going to question their intelligence 90% of the day? Can they actually work in these industries? Or
Maddie, let Drew answer the question first before you get a little.
Okay. Okay, and I want to say, how's it going, Devin? I didn't get to talk to you the last time you were on. Okay, here's my thing. Women can do the jobs. The point I'm trying to convey is it's not whether they can do the jobs comfortably or not. It goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. She said, can they do it without the fear of having a man do something like to them? Well, that's what I was going back to before. Women tend to see men as something to be feared. Yes, it happens. Yes, we understand that. We understand that that this has happened before. But usually, how many of us have jobs where we have plenty of women working with us, plenty of good-looking women, all the way down to unattractive women?
Yeah, and how many? Honestly, I would say I'm probably a part of that little group because I kind of work for a department where it's multiracial with people.
Yeah, but it does have women in it, right?
Yes. Old, young.
Yeah. Have you done anything to any of those women?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So therefore, the idea that a woman can't do what a man can do, it goes against the feminine narrative. That okay, well, like and that's the biggest problem that men tend to have with when they're going against feminists is feminists seem to want life to be something where when it benefits them, okay, it's cool, but when it doesn't benefit them, okay, no. Now, yes, there are some scumbags in the world, but there's scumbags in business. There's scumbags in in corporate America. Look at people like Harvey Weinstein. He's a scumbag, and and whatever he gets is whatever he deserves. But my thing that my thing that I was trying to say is that I just lost my train of thought. The thing that I was trying to say is that yes, we understand. Granted, that a white woman is usually going to get it easier than a black woman is.
Yeah, that's
common. That's common. We know that. We know that a white woman is going to get it that way. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be geared towards what the woman says towards the man. And I guess I'm saying we live in a matriarchal society. I believe America is a more matriarchal society because if a woman says something, in many cases they don't go towards trying to figure out what she like. Or what
you got feedback, man.
Yeah, they try to figure out. They don't really try to figure out if it's a lot of times they don't say, okay, well, let's see what's happening, or let's punish the woman if she's lying. I mean, look how many men have come out of prison after sitting in prison for. If you sit in prison for a day for a false accusation, and like I said, I can't say the word because I don't want to ding nobody's platform, but if you sit in jail for even 5 minutes over a false accusation, that was too long. And many times we've seen it. I've seen situations where black women have said, oh, this guy did this to me because that guy was going to go to the league or that guy was going to be successful. And she thought that she was going to get him. And he was like, nah, this was a one night type thing. And now this guy's life is changed because, oh, well, I didn't like the way that went. We see it all the time where men are dragged. And especially black men. I mean, I could sit here and I could sing you a song and I bet you could finish it. It goes, a scrub is a guy that thinks he's fine and also known as a what?
I never heard of that one before.
You've never heard the scrub song. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
that's what I'm saying. It's all like we live like, and it might have not always been like that, but as it stands now, this is what it seems that we live in. Men are trying to be silenced for having an opinion, and I'm not saying that it wasn't a patriarchy, but I believe that we personally live in a more matriarchal society. And like I said, and I'm not going against Maddie and trying to say that, I don't like her or I don't agree with her, or I don't like, because we have a difference of an opinion. That's why I like these kinds of panels where we can get on and we can talk about what we think. But
diversity only it spreads out more.
And I mean, and it makes you learn to hear things, because she told me something earlier that I never even knew. I was like, dang, I didn't know that. But personally, I personally believe we live in a more matriarchal society. And I just feel like that because of what I see men go through as opposed to what women go through. And I say that before. That's why I said it seems like women always see men as something to be feared. And in many cases, men are not even, I mean, I've seen guys at the gym that I work out at, and women are like, I don't like the way he's looking at me. And he's like, girl, I'm looking past you. Like, you don't like the way I'm looking at you, get out the way. Like, you're in the way. But she sees it as an issue and like, oh, well, I don't like the way he's looking at me. And it's like, really, he wasn't even paying attention to you. He was looking at the mirror. He was like, he had 1,000-mile stare. So that's my whole thing. I just don't like
their masters be making you stare at everything, bro. That will tire your ass out.
Yeah. And that's my thing. I just always felt like from as far as I can remember back, I always heard that men were always the problem. Men were always the problem. And it's like, well, what have I done to you? No. And are there some sorry ass men out there? Yes, we can agree that. I mean, I know I know dudes who are cool sleeping on somebody's floor, sleeping on somebody's couch, letting a woman take care of him. And it's like, okay, yes.
So hobos, we call those hobosexuals.
Yeah. Except whatever it is. To me, it's lazy. That's the way I look at it. It's like, bro, I work two jobs. You can't get one.
They're damaged.
I agree with that, Devin.
So that's the only thing I was saying is I personally believe that America is a more matriarchal society because it seems like everything is geared towards trying to that everything that happens, it's always going to be skewed whenever it's a man versus a woman, in my opinion, in most cases.
All right. Greatness, how you doing, man? You came in late to the party. Devin?
Hold on 1 second.
All right. Bible, you still there?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm staying.
Thank you.
Well, I agree with you. Actually.
Yeah, I'm all right.
So tonight's,
say it again.
Tonight's subject is the night is the black community of patriarchy or matriarchy. What question we were discussing right now is stop Bible. What has the matriarchy contributed to the black community?
Fear and separation.
Oh, I wish Maddie was.
Thank you.
Fear and separation.
Here we go right here.
So you know what the potential of the opposite of that is. For as much power as that holds, is too much disparity to go in the affirmative. And a lot of times we're addicted to those missed shots, the bad shit that comes across us. We replay things, and that's a survival instinct, to be honest, but it's a tool, it's a feeling, it's a tool. Our feelings are tools. But we misuse our tools against ourselves. So you're going to be on super security and alert and automatically distrust everything. Women show up in the world with thoughtful gestures or just a thought. Men show up in the world with actions. And I remember one time D.L. Hughley said something about the most dangerous place in the world for a black man is in the mind of, or black people is in the mind of white people.
That is actually true.
And I think it gets more in depth than that. The most dangerous thing.
Can I want to bring a proverb from what's his name? What he's a black it's Baldwin. Not Baldwin. It's from Negro. I forgot what the name is. But basically he said he was explaining where black anger and racism yield from white people and from black people. And he basically said what did he say? I'm trying to remember. I forgot what it was, man. But finish what you're saying. He'll come back.
Just give us a clip note when you get there. But the point is, he said that he made that statement. I'm like, okay, that's a blanket statement. Now we can go in
I just remembered it
inside and dissect it. Now I say the most dangerous place or the insecurity. See, my insecurity is like being in any situation amongst women, working especially or something like that, where you're in a social environment. I project my masculinity. I project my self-security. But low-key in the back of my mind, I gotta worry about how the fuck somebody else around me feel. How are you feeling? is going to create my world if you go into a nuclear meltdown. So I'm always weary on the thoughts of, or the mindsets of people around me, especially women, if I'm in a vulnerable position.
Devin, I just wanted to say I remember where it came from. It was James Baldwin from I'm Not Your Hero. He was explaining what the root of the white man's fear of black people is terror, which is a being of his own imagination that he's created in his own mind. And that's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to add when you said the scariest place for a black man is a white man's mind.
Okay, I understand.
I didn't mean to put you on context.
No, I mean, I see where you got the reference from. Hell, you might have even tapped into that, but the point made is you can present, present as such character you have. And depending on what somebody else feels about you, if you remind somebody of another person that did them wrong, you in danger. So, that plays a heavy role in us fine-tuning our senses, our intuition, to know who to be around and not, to know how to evade certain dangerous circumstances or people. We gotta not let our hormones get the worst of us, or not let our pride get the worst of us in certain situations. And I'm looking, I'll look at some social media posts regarding toxicity, and the men in them, the women in them. And, I can't speak for the men. Obviously, they ain't on par with being their true self. You know what I'm saying? They go into bitch mode and there's something else that happened.
The sympathy.
So, but with the women, it could, and oftentimes it's a cool ass dude. I mean, not cool ass dude, but the person is being cool. The person is being subtle in their interaction with the bullshit that's going on, that's being carried out possibly by a woman towards another male. So to me, sometimes it's like, okay,
hello, Devin? I think he's bugged out.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, what was the last thing you heard? I think my screen went dark.
You were trying to explain. I actually lost you where you were trying to go.
Okay, example. It'll be a guy that's being easygoing with the situation while his woman is running off at the mouth, especially to another male. So then the other male might haul off and crack dude ass just for being there, or because he can't hit the woman. And I say, well, it is what it is. One, for you being there simply. Two, because you ain't have under control. I wouldn't be out with no chick like that. If I see you like that, I'm gonna leave your ass right where you at. You putting both of us in danger.
I see that from a more practical view.
And that I'm glad you said that word, and that need to be common in our everyday vernacular. Practicality, something we practice and pursue and put work towards.
Well, people are beings of habit, so if it's not in the typical way, they ain't gonna really participate in it. Because anything that is out of their usual behavior is gonna be seen as foreign.
Right. And that's why it must be made practice of. If it's or rather those things that are the better habits should be made practice of.
But what
those that are not, huh?
Well, what are some examples that matriarchy have yielded in the black community that you gave your examples of fear?
Okay, the matriarchy, the mothering portion is, it just is. It's good and bad. It can be depending on the individual portraying the mothering portion. Meaning, caretaker. But recently I listened to it just to study this stuff. I'm not choosing a side, but I was listening to Kevin Samuel speak to some woman and talking about why she, at her age of 32 or something, why she's behaving a certain way, or how she teaches her children to be, and what she says about men in the presence of her children. And there it is right there. You what you're projecting is an air of fear and mistrust, because that's the biggest thing. Women don't feel safe. They don't feel safe because they can't trust you, and they can't trust you either because they've been done wrong many a times, or because they've been taught it. Simply if they've been taught it by their mothers. And she also had a little 5-year-old boy, and they never take note of what they say until it's made sense of the fact that your young boy is going to have to deal with women who think or feel like you do, or the worst of who you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the mention of it is that the mothering, it can be, it can be very helpful or very detrimental. That depends on the psyche of the person raising those kids.
Now that could also be a mental health issue as well. Which is not taken very seriously in the Black community as it should be.
But so I don't forget, because we on par with what I'm talking about, I created a formula just recently from thinking about a lot of stuff. It goes into culmination of love. What is love? To get to love, you have to have respect. To get to respect, you have to have value. And in value, you have, and see, I don't even say this word enough to, let me see, you have to have boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Quantified boundaries. Things that you will not take steps over, no matter if it's your child or any other person. But children have to be taught this formula, so that it's raised up and automatic. It's like, you can't sit next to me if you don't value. You definitely can't love me if you don't value me. You can't respect me if you don't value me.
Okay. I feel that. Anybody else have anything they want to interject? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to the last portion of our podcast tonight. What do you believe is the next portion of what do you believe is the next portion that could be added to the next generation to fix what part of patriarchy or matriarchy that can help the next generation?
I'll go ahead and answer, because I gotta get out of here pretty quick.
All right, Drew.
But I'll say this. I think the biggest thing that just down the middle, Black people need to learn how to do. We can't worry about what white people do or what everybody else is doing, but we can worry about what we do. And the biggest problem that I see in the Black community is our inability to get along. We're always at like odds about everything, and it's your fault. 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 The man is this. The woman is this. The woman is that. The easiest way to get back to what Black people were through Jim Crow and all that, when we were strong and we were, yes, we're more educated now. Yes, we have everything, at our hands, and we have that because of the ancestors that died for us. Because that's why I get so upset when I hear, a Black man say he hates all Black women or all Black women ain't nothing. That's why I get so mad when I hear a Black woman say that all Black men ain't anything, because or when they say, oh, I date white girls because I can't stand Black women. I date white men because I can't stand Black men. The reason that makes me so upset is because I always, like I said, I don't know if everybody here is, but I mean, we're in the South. I know I'm in the South. I'm in Texas. I know y'all said y'all are in Louisiana. So we get a very clear picture of, what happens when some white people don't like you. We really, really do. And I just get mad because I remember, I always tell everybody remember all the people that hung from trees. Remember all the men who were castrated, all the women who were raped. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that on YouTube. I apologize.
That's
Great.
fine.
Okay. But yeah,
Really?
remember all of our leaders who were killed. Remember all of our people who sat in jail for just straight bullshit. For you to have the freedoms that we have today, for you to be able to date who you want, if you want to have a white man or a white husband, a white girlfriend, a Mexican husband, a Mexican girlfriend, and so on and so forth. Remember everybody who died for you to have those opportunities. So when you say that to me is a sellout, because you sell out everybody. You hate on everybody.
But wait, I didn't ask for them to do that. That's their first excuse right there.
Yeah. And so my biggest thing is what we can teach it. I don't have kids yet. But I think the biggest thing we can focus on if you have kids or, anything is try to teach. We need to start trying to teach the generations how to get along with each other without having so much contentious, just energy. And, without women always thinking that men are going to do something to them, and without men always approaching women as a sexual object. Yes, we see women as, and I've said this before, if a man, many men see women as sex objects. Yes. And that's just in our nature. That's just in our DNA. But that's the initial thought. And it's what you do. It's the second thought and the third thought and the fourth thought that's what matters. And when we can teach each other how to get along, and we can teach the next generation how to get along, we'll start getting back to what we've been. We can start getting back to the strong communities that we've been.
All right, man.
But like I said, I want to thank y'all for having me on, man. Like I said, I apologize. I got to get up out of here. I got to go do something. But I want to thank everybody.
Hit me up, dude. Hit me up.
Okay. All right, Maddie, I'm going to check you out. Thank you.
All right.
Take
And
care, bro.
can I follow up on what he said? Because
Yeah,
he
go ahead.
definitely hit I think the only way we can go forward as a culture is what we teach our kids. And we have to teach them emotional intelligence.
Whitney said it best. Children are our future.
Yeah, the children are our future, and we have to start teaching them emotional intelligence.
Exactly what my point was.
Like, we have to start teaching them how they feel about themselves, how they feel about each other. They have to learn about consent. And I'm sorry, my voice is getting dry as whatever. I don't know what's wrong.
No, people in your house, they starting to get to you.
Huh?
And people in your house starting to get to you.
I've been tested about 3 times this week, all negative.
You're immune then.
Nah, I keep a can right next to the bed. But it's all in how we have to actually give our boys and our girls emotional intelligence. We can't just keep teaching our boys that the only emotion that they're allowed to show is anger. We can't keep teaching our girls that, hey, just because this person is this person, you have to show them loyalty. You have to teach them boundaries within themselves. Because before you can give other people boundaries, you have to learn your own boundaries. And I've said it 1,000 times. There's too many damn adults walking around here who don't know themselves. They don't know what they can take and what they can't take. They're not used to making decisions for themselves because too many people made decisions for them as children. So you have
therapy.
Huh?
I said we need to normalize therapy.
Definitely normalize therapy. Hell, I'm trying to get to the point where we don't even need therapy anymore because so many people have actually gone to therapy and learned and took what they've learned and brought it to their children. Like, we have to stop teaching that saying no is disrespectful when it comes down to saying no to your parents. We have to teach that. We have
Or
to
you,
teach kids that they
or
need
you
to learn their
align,
boundaries, their
or you
own boundaries.
align.
That way they know how to tell other people their boundaries.
Exactly.
We
Right.
need to we need to teach kids consent. Like, yeah, you're in charge of your body. If if you don't like somebody touching on your body, you're allowed to say, "Ill, I don't like that." And I do mean ill. You can say that because you don't like it. We have to be able to teach that and not feel disrespected when they exercise that. Um, we have to learn how to speak up for ourselves. Cause just like Mr. Devon was talking about, oh, a chick was arguing with another man and he got hit for it. He needs to, while she's gone over to that man, he needs to, hey, babe, what you doing? Why you doing this? Say, man, I'm gonna talk to you later. I need to talk to her. That's so he could just speak up for himself and not just look on idly.
Conflict
You're an active
resolution.
participant. You're an active participant in your life as well. Don't just sit there and just watch stuff happen. And that goes with women too. When they see their man disrespecting them in front of their face, and they just like, "Oh, I didn't want to emasculate him in public." Baby, you got to learn how to speak up for yourself, and you need to understand when people are speaking up for themselves. It's not that they're going against you; they're just speaking up for them, and that's something I don't even think we'll be able to teach. We got adults who need to go to therapy to learn that, but that needs to definitely go on to the next generation. And I don't think we should be in a matriarchal society or a patriarchal society. We should be in an oligarchy society where we're in an actual partnership and not going against each other. Like, I understand why the matriarchy first appeared, especially in African American communities, is because they were selling male slaves as bucks and stuff and just selling them to different plantations. So who else was there to keep the family together but the mother, you know? And now it became, well, Papa's in charge because he's a man and we are assimilating to white culture, which is something very big in the 30s and 40s, not realizing that's not the healthiest thing for us. It's not. And now we're at this war where nobody's in charge. Nobody's in charge. Everybody's like, man, F you, F you, F you. And that's to the end of the day. And it's like, that's not working either. So we need to get to a point where we're both in partnership. Well, partnership, not fisticuffs. But yeah, I'm done my rambles.
All right then. All right. Bible, do you have any recollections?
um, no, not really, but I do agree with what was just said. I think it does start in the home, and for a lot of us growing up in a black household, we don't really, the kids don't really get to make their own decisions or get to feel a certain type of way about certain things. Um, Growing up in a black household, you don't learn how to say no or set boundaries because it's seen as disrespectful. And when you grow up like that, that's kind of how you live your life as an adult.
Okay. Devon, you want to take one? Be the last person with any recollections?
Yeah, I do want to chime in. Give me one moment.
All right. While he's waiting, I'll just get my little ramble. Um, we've been going at this. To be frank, we've been going at this shit for too long. Black men and black women. This has been a never ending battle for almost going on a good 70 years. This solidarity should have been came. And I understand we just 60. We only 60 years out of. We only really 60 years out of technically out of Jim Crow or segregation. We didn't had that's not a very long time to get real actual work done, but we've made progress regardless of all the obstacles we've had to face. And I think one of the biggest things that the black community faces with trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Inoculate, which means to spread good education to its children, is the fact that a lot of everybody is still dealing with personal issues that they've encountered from their own past that they have not recollected with. And I think like Maddie said earlier, mental health needs to be taken into account very much so. Because if you guys haven't ever heard epidemic trauma, which is basically trauma that is passed on hereditarily. I believe Joy DeGray explains this very in depthly in her book Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. Syndrome. But that you get what I'm saying. The point I'm trying to make it all candidly is that the best way to fix this is to realize that we have a bigger problem to face than just figuring out who wants to run the community, because it's the problem of both people. It's also the duty of both men and women. So it's not a one-man army that needs to run the show. Devin, you got your stuff ready?
Yeah, I'm prepped. Yeah, I want to apologize to y'all. I'm juggling work at the same time.
Oh, bro, I feel you, bro. I'm just happy that you actually took time to come up here.
Yeah, so I had to touch base. I'm like, damn, I'm forgetting something. Peeked in my inbox, but yeah, I don't know if this is relevant, but I'm a chess player, so with that formulated me to I think dynamically anyway. I can't help it. I'm always thinking of connecting dots to this, like inventions on the backbone because of that, right? So one thing for sure, when I'm thinking about a thing, looking at it from perspectives and eyes of others other than my own experience, it's like, okay, like even when somebody even when somebody commits a crime, my initial human feeling is to probably be angry, depending on the circumstance, or look at it as stupid, what have you. But then I go into delving. I'll think about what this individual is made of so much it goes back to their third generations back. Like, because whatever they're doing, whatever they've done, probably don't have to just do with now. This, when I'm thinking of this, for this sake, that means that how people are raised and what the habits of their ancestors matters. And we can change that only minutely as we do the work now. The adults that need therapy now are because their whole design is jacked up. Their parents and their parents. And then on top of that, what they might have been taught right now. And as I say, look from multiple sides, looking at the dynamics of how people operate. If I say one thing for one person, I look at how it applies to another. And it's like we all formulate of the same parts, but we don't all move the same way. You stifling God when you do that. And when we talk about those, or when I mention those values or that formula, that's just a piece. That's just a piece, and that's to what's that, to impress some personal structure for an individual to how they're going to go out into the world or receive the world, because everything we do is based on that formula, to me, or at least some portion of it, because what you do is going to be based on what you value. What you accept or receive is going to be based on how you value yourself, and that's going to determine what type of respect you seek out or receive back on both ends of the spectrum, for female or male. And men, as men, we show up in the world in action, and our action, where our primary actions are, when they're at their height and their fever pitch, is either in anger or high elation, high happiness. Now, with those being our, our hot and cold zones, it's like, okay, what inspires those feelings that move that engine? And us as adults, leading the people around us that we come in contact, because you teach people how to treat you. It's a matter of, how can I motivate a person to treat me well, and what stifles them and how I behave towards them. You follow on that?
Yeah, I understand. I do.
Okay, so when us having these conversations, it's like I'm, talking it out, but I'm always looking for a resolution, a resolve to evolve. So what can I do now? What can we do now? What are the missing parts, and what are the best parts?
Well, that's all. It's always a good thing to always that's basically the end all of the game in duality.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, I'm about to close it down. Anybody have any last will and testaments they want to make? Well, you seem pretty hesitant, Maddie.
And the patriarchy has us all fucked up. You want to be honest about it, but yeah.
All right then. Well, I appreciate. I just want to say, gentlemen and ladies, I appreciate y'all for finally coming up here.
Yes,
I was really trying to get this one of us going. All right, but, I appreciate y'all for being up. I'll have some news for another podcast if you're interested to be back up.
All right.
All right.
Y'all take care. Be blessed.
Yeah, I'll take care.
Be blessed.